Okay, let's dive into something you see all the time in the world of competitive chess, but maybe never really thought about. It involves a board, two players, and a simple pen and paper.
You know what I'm talking about, right? You're watching a tournament, the players are laser-focused, just staring at the board, and then after they make a move, they pick up a pen and start scribbling. Are they writing a to-do list, taking notes? What is actually going on?
Well, they're not writing down what to get at the grocery store. They are recording the game's official story. This little piece of paper is called a score sheet, and honestly, it's an absolutely essential part of competitive chess. It's the official log of every single move.
But that brings up the really obvious question, doesn't it? I mean, we live in an age of digital everything. We have computers and electronic boards that can track all of this stuff automatically. So why on earth are we still using old-fashioned pen and paper? All right, let's pull back the curtain on this so-called mystery of the score sheet. Because it's not just about tradition, it's not just how we've always done it, it's something that's woven right into the very fabric of the game. It really boils down to three huge things: proof, following the rules, and getting better at chess. You can think of the score sheet as the ultimate source of truth for everything that happens in a game. And let's get one thing straight right away. In any serious, official tournament, writing down your moves isn't just a nice little suggestion. It is absolutely non-negotiable. It's not a choice, it's a requirement. It's the law of the game.
Yeah, FIDE, the big international governing body for chess, they mandate this. And it's all about making sure the game is fair and that the officials, the arbiters, can do their jobs correctly. Honestly, without this written record, trying to enforce some of the more complex rules in chess would be a complete nightmare.
Take threefold repetition, for instance. You can claim a draw if the exact same position happens 3 times. But what if those repetitions are like 20 moves apart? How in the world are you supposed to prove that without a written record? You can't. Your score sheet is your only piece of solid evidence you can show to the arbiter.
And then there's the 50-move rule. We're talking about 50 moves for each player. That's 100 total moves, with no captures and no pawn moves. Can you imagine trying to remember all of that perfectly while your clock is ticking down and you're under intense pressure? No way! The score sheet just removes all the doubt. It's the proof.
Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. To claim one of these draws, the procedure is incredibly specific. You actually have to write down the move that's going to create the draw first on your score sheet, before you even say a word to the arbiter, before you touch the piece. The score sheet isn't just a history book, it's an active part of the legal process of the game.
So, what exactly are they writing on this all-important piece of paper? Well, it's a kind of specialized shorthand, a unique language just for chess moves. And believe me, this language has changed dramatically over time. It went from these long, complicated sentences to just a few simple characters.
I mean, just look at this. A few hundred years ago, this is how you'd write down a move. It's basically a short story. Can you imagine trying to write all of that out while you're in time trouble? It's just wild. And all of that today is just Quoth 6.
And this shows that evolution perfectly. On one side, you have the old way, descriptive notation. Now, the problem with this was that it was all relative. A square had a different name depending on if you were playing white or black. Super confusing. Then came algebraic notation, which is what we all use today. It's basically a grid system, like in Battleship. E4 is always E4, no matter which side of the board you're on. Simple, universal. And here's a fun piece of chess history trivia for you. The simpler algebraic system was actually invented first, but the guy who championed the more complicated descriptive system, a player named Philidor, was way more famous at the time. So his much clunkier system dominated the chess world for nearly 200 years. It wasn't until the 1970s that everyone finally said, okay, this is just better, and algebraic became the standard. Which of course brings us right back to where we started, the modern era. We have this amazing, simple notation system, but we also have technology. So again, why are we still scribbling on paper when electronic boards can do it all for us?
And, this is a real debate now because FIDE has started to officially certify electronic score sheets. So the question is on pen and paper versus pixels. Which one is going to win out in the world of chess?
First up, you've got the classic paper score sheet. This has been the gold standard for decades, and for good reason. It's simple. It's reliable. It never runs out of batteries, it can't crash, and you don't need an instruction manual to use it.
And in the other corner, you have the electronic score sheet. These are basically dedicated devices. A lot of them are like modified old phones that just log the moves.
And yeah, they're super convenient, and analyzing your game later is a piece of cake. So you can see the trade-offs pretty clearly here, right? Paper is bulletproof, it just works. But it's manual, and let's be honest, your handwriting can get pretty messy when you're stressed. The electronic ones are slick and easy, but they can fail. And here's the real kicker. Some major tournament organizers just ban them outright. No electronic devices near the board, period. So yeah, that classic paper score sheet isn't going anywhere just yet.
Okay, but let's step away from the rules and the tech for a minute, because the score sheet is about so much more than that. It gets to the very human side of chess. Stuff like accountability, fair play, and that deep down drive to just get better.
I mean, just think about this. What if someone tries to cheat? What if a player intentionally writes down the wrong move, hoping to cause confusion, or maybe get an advantage later on? It's a horrible thought, but it's something an arbiter has to be ready for. And in that kind of worst-case scenario, the score sheet is absolutely crucial.
The FIDE rules have a clear playbook for this. If there's a dispute, the arbiter takes both score sheets. They go back move by move until they find the last spot where both records match up. And from there, they reconstruct the proper game position. That score sheet is the ultimate guardian of fair play.
And maybe this is the most important point of all, especially if you're trying to improve your own game. Your score sheet is your best teacher. Seriously, when you physically write down your moves, you're not just passively playing anymore. You're creating a permanent record of your own thinking, your mistakes, your brilliant ideas. It's the blueprint you can use later to figure out where you went wrong and how to get better.
So when you really think about it, from a quill pen describing a queen's journey to a quick tap on a screen, this act of recording the game has always been part of chess's soul. And as technology keeps pushing forward, you have to wonder, is handwriting a game's history a timeless tradition, or is it a skill we might soon forget? I guess that's a story that still remains to be written.